Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you could join me for this journey.
Have you ever heard another man bragging about your wife? I have. And not in a chat or a text, but live, in person. At the company holiday party, I was standing behind a wall and listened as my wife's colleague told his friends, "She's mine at the office, man. We've been together for a few months now." And that's when I understood everything. Everything I considered love was a lie. But what I did next made him regret every word he said. My name is Luke. I'm 35. My wife's name is Chloe. She's 32. We've been together for 7 years, married for 5. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a small IT company. Nothing huge, but stable enough to provide us with a comfortable life. We had a nice apartment in the suburbs, 2 cars, and plans for the future that seemed solid and real. Chloe worked as an office manager at a large firm in the city center, one of those corporate giants with glass towers and endless meetings. She always described her job as demanding but fulfilling. "The people there are wonderful," she would say over dinner. "My colleagues are like family, Luke. We support each other through the stress." I believed her because love without trust is a prison, right? That's what I told myself every time a small spark of doubt flickered deep inside. I pushed those thoughts away, ashamed for even having them. But as it turned out, I was living in an illusion, a carefully constructed fantasy that was about to shatter into 1,000 pieces. It all started gradually, as it always does. About 4 months before everything collapsed, I began noticing small changes in Chloe. At first, they seemed innocent, even positive. She started dressing differently. Instead of her usual business casual, she wore tighter skirts, more revealing blouses, and high heels that made her legs look incredible. When I complimented her, she would smile and say, "I just want to feel good about myself. You know, work has been so stressful lately." Then came the new perfume, something expensive and intoxicating, completely unlike her usual scent. She also changed her hairstyle, going from a practical shoulder-length cut to long, flowing waves that she would spend an hour styling every morning. "You look amazing," I told her one evening as she checked her reflection before leaving for work. "Thanks, baby," she replied, giving me a quick peck on the cheek. "I have a big presentation today, remember? I need to look professional." But the presentation was last week. I didn't say anything. Late nights at the office became the norm. 3, sometimes 4 times a week. She wouldn't come home until 9 or 10 p.m. "We're preparing for this big project," she would explain, fatigue evident in her voice. Or was it something else? "When it's over, I'll get a big bonus. We can finally take that trip to Greece you've been talking about." I wanted to believe her. God, how I wanted to believe her. But then came the new phone behavior. Chloe had always been open with her phone, leaving its screen up on the table, not flinching when notifications came in. Suddenly she started taking it everywhere, even to the bathroom. She would turn the screen away from me when typing, and her face would light up with smiles from messages she never shared. "Who's that?" I asked once, trying to sound casual. "Oh, it's just Sarah from work," she replied quickly, putting the phone away. "She's having more trouble with her boyfriend. You know how it is." I nodded, but something cold settled in my stomach. One Tuesday evening, I came home early from a canceled meeting. Chloe's laptop was open on the kitchen counter. She must have forgotten to close it in her morning rush. I wasn't a snooper. I was never jealous or possessive, but something made me look at the screen. Her email was open, and right at the top was a message from someone named Mark. The subject line read, "Can't wait for tonight." My heart started pounding. I clicked on it before I could stop myself. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. See you at the usual spot at 7. I felt nauseous. My hands shook as I scrolled through the correspondence. There were dozens of messages over several months. Flirty jokes, compliments, veiled mentions of meetups and moments that were clearly not work-related, but nothing so explicit, it was undeniable proof. Nothing I could confront her with that she couldn't explain away. I carefully closed the laptop, making sure everything looked exactly as she left it. That evening, when she came home at 10:30, she gave me an absent-minded kiss and said she'd already eaten at the office. She smelled of wine and men's cologne. "How was your day?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Exhausting," she sighed, kicking off her shoes. "This project is killing me." "But Mark, he's one of the senior managers. He's been so helpful. He's teaching me a lot about the business." "Mark." The name hit me with physical force, but I kept my expression neutral. "That's great," I said. "It's good you have supportive colleagues." She smiled, already scrolling through her phone. "Yeah, I'm lucky." 2 weeks later, Chloe's company announced its annual holiday party, a big event at an upscale restaurant downtown with dinner, drinks, and dancing. "I probably won't go," she mentioned offhandedly one evening. "Those things are usually pretty boring." "Really?" I was surprised. "I thought you liked your work friends." "I do. But it's employees only this year," she said quickly. "Budget cuts or something. No plus ones." Something was off in her tone, but I let it go. Then, 3 days before the event, I ran into Mike, one of Chloe's colleagues I'd met at a previous party. We'd hit it off, bonding over a shared love of basketball. "Hey, Luke!" he called out, spotting me in the grocery store. "You coming to the party on Friday?" "Party?" I asked, confused. "The holiday party," he said. "Should be fun. My wife Sandra's excited. They're putting on this whole fancy event with a live band and everything." My blood ran cold. "I thought it was employees only." Mike laughed. "No, man, everyone brings their partners. It's the one time of year the company actually splurges on a nice event. You should definitely come." "Chloe didn't tell you?" I forced a smile. Must have slipped her mind. "We've both been really busy." "Yeah, I get it," Mike said. "We'll see you Friday." As he walked away, my mind raced. Why would Chloe lie about the party? Why wouldn't she want me there? The answer was obvious, but I needed to be sure. Friday evening came. Chloe spent 2 hours getting ready, trying on 3 different dresses before settling on a stunning black one that hugged every curve. "You look incredible," I said, and I meant it. She was breathtaking. "Thanks," she said, giving her reflection one last check. "I'll be home by midnight. Don't wait up." She gave me a quick kiss and was gone, her perfume lingering in the air. I waited 15 minutes, then got dressed in my best suit. I called an Uber and headed to the restaurant. The whole ride, my heart was pounding. Part of me hoped I was wrong, that I was a paranoid fool, but a bigger part knew what I was about to discover. The restaurant was one of those elegant places with soft lighting and expensive art on the walls. I could hear music and laughter coming from a closed-off event space in the back. I walked in slowly, sticking to the edges of the room. It was full of Chloe's coworkers, all dressed up and drinking champagne. I spotted Mike across the room with his wife, but I didn't go over. I was looking for Chloe. I didn't see her at first, so I headed towards the bar, keeping my head down. That's when I heard the voices from around the corner. A group of men were laughing and talking loudly. "Man, you just killed it this year," one voice said. "Promotion, new car, what's your secret?" Then I heard another voice, confident, almost smug. "What can I say? Life is good, especially when you have the right connections." More laughter. "Speaking of connections," another guy chimed in, "what's the deal with you and Chloe? You two look pretty close." My whole body froze. I pressed myself against the wall, hidden by a decorative column. "Chloe?" The smug voice. This had to be Mark. "Man, she's mine at the office. We have it on lock. Her husband has no idea." Those words hit me like a truck. "Seriously?" someone asked, laughing. "How long has that been going on?" "A few months now," Mark said casually. "Started after that conference in Boston. She's incredible, man. And the best part is, she tells him she's working late, and we just—" I didn't hear the rest. My ears were ringing, my vision blurred with rage. Every muscle in my body wanted to storm around that corner and punch him in the face. But something stopped me. A cold, calculating clarity washed over me. If I confronted him now, it would be messy. A scene, denials. They could twist it as a joke, a misunderstanding. No. If Chloe had betrayed me, I was going to handle this the right way, the smart way. I turned around and walked out of the restaurant without looking back. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my home office staring at the wall, replaying those words over and over. She's mine at the office. By dawn, I had made a decision. I wasn't going to confront Chloe. Not yet. I needed proof. Irrefutable, undeniable evidence. The next morning, I called an old friend, David, who worked in HR consulting for various companies. We went to college together, and I knew I could trust him. "Hey, man," he answered. What's up?" "I need a favor," I said quietly, "and I need it to stay between us." "Of course. What do you need?" "Chloe's company hired a team of videographers for their party last night," I explained. "I need to see that footage." A pause. "Luke, are you sure you want to do this?" "I'm sure," David sighed. "Okay, give me a couple of days. I know some people." "Thank you, David. I owe you one." "You don't owe me anything. Just take care of yourself, okay?" 3 days later, David called me. "I've got it," he said. "But Luke, I looked at some of it. You need to prepare yourself. Just send it to me. It's a private link. I'm texting it to you now. And Luke, I'm really sorry, man." I downloaded the video files to my laptop and opened the first one with trembling hands. The recording was from several angles, professional cameras capturing the entire event. I fast-forwarded through the dinner part, past the speeches and toasts, until I got to the point where people started dancing. And then I saw them. Chloe and Mark on the dance floor, his hands on her waist, her arms around his neck. They were close. Too close. She was laughing, her head thrown back, looking at him with an expression I recognized because she used to look at me that way. Then he leaned in and kissed her. Not a friendly peck on the cheek, but a real kiss. Passionate, hungry, and she kissed him back. They pulled away, both smiling, and he whispered something in her ear that made her laugh. She playfully hit his chest, and they kept dancing as if nothing was wrong. I watched it 3 more times, and each viewing felt like a knife digging deeper into my chest. But it was what I needed. Irrefutable proof. I saved the video and started making copies. Over the next week, I meticulously gathered everything I could find. I recovered deleted text messages from Chloe's phone backup, flirty exchanges, explicit photos, plans for hotel meetups. I created timelines showing when she told me she was working late, but her location data showed she was at restaurants and hotels all over the city. I documented everything in a detailed folder: dates, times, messages, photos, and the video from the party. Through it all, I maintained complete normalcy at home. I kissed Chloe goodbye in the mornings, asked about her day, made dinner, and pretended everything was fine. It was the hardest acting job of my life. She had no idea what was coming. On Thursday morning, exactly 2 weeks after the party, I sent 3 carefully crafted emails. The first was to Chloe's direct supervisor, Helen Morrison, a woman known for her strict adherence to corporate policy and zero tolerance for workplace misconduct. The second was to the head of HR, Charles Wong. The third was to Amanda, Mark's wife. Each email contained the same attachments: the video from the party, selected text exchanges, and a brief, professional explanation of the situation. I offered no opinions, added no emotion. I just laid out the facts. To Helen and Charles, I emphasized that this violated the company's policy on workplace relationships, especially since Mark held a senior manager position and could be seen as having influence over Chloe's career. For Amanda, I was gentle but honest. "I thought you deserved to know the truth," I wrote. "I'm sorry it has to come from me this way." Then I waited. It took less than 6 hours for everything to blow up. At 2:30 p.m., Chloe called me, her voice panicked. Luke, something's happening at work. Can you talk? I'm in a meeting." "I'm in a meeting," I lied calmly. "What's wrong?" "I just got called into HR," she said, and I could hear she was crying. "They're saying something about inappropriate conduct in the workplace. I don't understand what's happening." "I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding," I said evenly. "Just be honest with them." "Okay," she sobbed. "Okay. I love you." "Uh-huh. I replied and hung up. At 4:15 p.m., Mike texted me, "Dude, what the hell is going on at Chloe's office? I'm hearing crazy rumors." I didn't respond. At 6:30 p.m., Chloe came home. The moment I saw her face, I knew she knew. Her makeup was smeared from tears. Her eyes were red and puffy, and she looked completely shattered. "Luke," she began, her voice trembling. "Luke, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" I asked calmly, not looking up from my laptop. "What happened at work today?" she said, moving towards me. "It's a huge misunderstanding. Someone sent those videos and messages to my boss, but it's not what it looks like." "Really?" I closed my laptop and looked at her. "And what does it look like?" "Mark and I, we were just drunk at the party. It was stupid. Just one drunk kiss. It didn't mean anything." "Just one drunk kiss," I repeated slowly. "That's your explanation?" "Yes. I swear, Luke, I love you. I would never truly cheat on you." I stood up and walked over to my desk, pulling out the folder I'd prepared. "Chloe, I was at that party." Her face went white. "What?" "I was there. I was standing in that restaurant and I heard Mark telling his friends, 'She's mine at the office. Her husband has no idea.' I heard him bragging about you like you were his property." She cried even harder. "Luke, no, please." "And this," I continued, opening the folder and laying out the photos on the table. "This is from the last 4 months. Hotel receipts, text messages, photos you sent him. Are you going to tell me those were just drunk kisses too?" She stared at the evidence, her mouth opening and closing but no words coming out. "I gave you everything," I said, and my voice finally cracked with emotion. 7 years, Chloe. 7 years of loyalty, trust, building a life together. And you threw it all away for what? For Mark. A married man who brags about you to his friends. "I'm so sorry," she wailed. "I'm so sorry." "It was a mistake. I'll end it. I swear. Please, Luke. Please don't leave me." I reached into the folder and pulled out another document. "These are divorce papers," I said, handing them to her. "I've already signed them. You can sign them now, or your lawyer can review them. Your choice." "No," she whispered. "No. Please. We can fix this. I'll do anything." "There's nothing to fix, Chloe. You made your choice." I grabbed my car keys and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" she cried out. I turned to look at her one last time. "Tell Mark he can have you at the office and everywhere else, because I'm free." The next few days passed in a blur. Mark was fired immediately, terminated for violating the company's ethics policy on workplace relationships and abusing his managerial position. The company couldn't risk the liability of a senior manager sleeping with a subordinate, especially with video evidence and a clear paper trail. Chloe was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. While she wasn't in a management position like Mark, the company still needed to determine if she had received any unfair advantages from the relationship. Amanda, Mark's wife, filed for divorce within a week. According to Mike, who heard it through office gossip, she took their kids and moved to her parents in another state. Mark lived alone in their shared house, suddenly facing single parenthood on weekends and huge alimony payments. Chloe moved out of our apartment and went to live with her parents 3 hours away. She tried calling me dozens of times, sent long texts apologizing and promising to change. I didn't respond to any of them. All communication regarding the divorce went through my lawyer. Since we had no children and had a prenuptial agreement, something I had insisted on when we got married, to her initial protests, the process was relatively straightforward. I threw myself into work, using the pain as fuel to expand my business. I hired 2 new developers and landed 3 major contracts. My company thrived even as my personal life lay in ruins. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during the marriage. I started running, cooking new recipes, and even got a dog, a golden retriever named Cooper, who became my constant companion. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again. I learned a lot about myself, about relationships, about trust and betrayal. I learned that love without trust isn't love at all, but trust shouldn't make you blind. I learned that sometimes the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do. I learned that revenge isn't about screaming, violence, or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply revealing the truth and letting the consequences unfold naturally. I learned that people who brag about their conquests usually end up conquering nothing but their own downfall. Most importantly, I learned that I am stronger than I thought. My business is thriving. My friendships are stronger. My dog is the best therapist I could ask for. And sometimes late at night, I think about that moment when I stood behind the column at the holiday party and listened to Mark bragging about my wife. In that moment, I could have ruined my life with rage and violence. Instead, I chose clarity. I chose strategy. I chose to let the truth be my weapon. And in doing so, I didn't just expose their betrayal. I reclaimed my own dignity. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't making someone pay. It's refusing to let their actions define your worth. It's walking away with your head held high, knowing you did the right thing, even when it hurt. It's understanding that their choice was never a reflection of you, but your reaction is a reflection of who you are. Mark lost his job, his marriage, his reputation. Chloe lost our marriage, her career trajectory, and her self-respect. But I lost nothing. I got myself back, and I realized that is worth any revenge. Never think that a lie will remain a secret. The world has a strange way. It puts everything in its place. And if someone is bragging about you by name, not knowing you're listening, believe me, it's only a matter of time before they're bragging about their own defeat. Because the truth always surfaces. Justice always finds its way. And those who build their happiness on someone else's pain always end up paying the price. Now I know this, not because I wanted revenge, but because I chose truth over comfort, clarity over denial, and self-respect over a convenient lie. That choice saved me, and in the end, that's all that matters.